Wonderful. Hello, everyone. This is Backyard Musings broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I'm Steve.
I'm Scott.
So this caught my eye. It is a segment on Egyptology, and you've probably seen in my home, I've got a whole bunch of Egyptian art up on the wall. I've been fascinated by Egyptology since I was a kid. I'm not a zealot for it. I'm not like, it's like a casual, like I like it, So I saw this and it's like, well, I'll throw it out there and see if you guys like it. Anyone who has previously shown an interest in research conducted by the Department of Egyptology at Julius Maximilian University, Würzburg, JMU, is likely familiar with the name Soknopaiou Nesos. Soknopaiou Nesos.
Hold that thought, because that name comes up here several times.
Maybe we need to shorten it, like Soki.
Or SN.
Or SN. This ancient settlement, located in the so-called Fayum Basin and known for its temple complex, captured the attention of Würzburg scholars at an early stage. New research continues to uncover the complexities of SN, focusing on its difficult demotic text. That's caught my eye too. What the heck is a demotic text? We're going to find out. And the economic roles of its temple, aka tithing, right? That's what any church that has economies in it is tithing.
Yep.
Driven by extensive historical documentation and significant funding. Would you like to know more? Please say yes.
Here we go. We're going to show slide number 2.
Here we go. Let me advance. So that slide was showing the ruins of where it is in Egypt. So there you go. All right. So this is like some text.
All right, here we go. So the former chair of JMU, Karl Theodor Zozich, was a pioneer here, being the first to edit documents from the site in 1968.
Cool.
Yeah.
It took that long to find documents.
Yeah. Wow. So he repeatedly told this anecdote, has experienced a demonist or demodist as he was. He began to doubt himself, claiming that while these texts were obviously written in demotic, he did not understand anything at first. Demotic refers to both a stage and a written form of ancient Egyptian, which was in use from around the 7th century BC to the 5th century AD.
So just to chime in
a swing
on this, the phase means like and a time, like language changes over time, right? To meet the requirements of the people who are speaking it, right? And hieroglyphics, there were pictures, pictograph stuff put together, hieratics, and so it changed in time. So this is what he's talking about, demotic.
Okay. So demotic, which is difficult to read, has the reputation for being the most evil of all evil Egyptian scripts. Interesting. As the Egyptologist Hermann Grappau put in 1937, apparently the demotic scribes of SN succeeded in replicating this trend.
So we're not talking evil as in good versus evil. We're just talking difficult, like differential equations pulled out of calculus. Calculus is tough, but differential equations, that's evil. Right? If you've ever
calculus
taken it.
Teacher was evil. So
yeah, exactly. So the current chair and Zozich's successor, Professor Martin A. Stadler, can now advance this work after completing 2 research projects on Soknopaiou Nesos under his leadership. The German Research Foundation has granted approximately 1 million euros for a package proposal to develop this research in 3 projects over the coming years. Stadler already attempted to attain funding from the DFG for a 12-year long-term project in 2008. I'd go for the long one too. Job security, right?
Yeah.
At that time, however, the DFG reviewers did not believe that he had enough material for it. He then acquired a 6-year and a 3-year project. After completing my two previous years projects over a total of 9 years, we're now going to complete the 12 years I originally planned, and this with an interdisciplinary team, Statler states happily. He's got some money.
In the village of Soknopaiou Nesos, one of the largest and most comprehensive papyrus corpora for the study of local writing practices has been found.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yep, says Martin Stadler, explaining the background to his research project. Despite the mass of evidence, or perhaps precisely because of it, this material has only ever been systematically processed in part, according to the Egyptologists. The project participants want to make progress in the coming years. They can build on a large number of papyri that have already been identified and published. However, they also need to edit further texts from the first time in order to obtain a more comprehensive picture.
So as you can see from the slide, the paper is kind of gone. Yeah, there's areas that are completely gone and then shriveled, and they're trying to put it together. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's in this weird phase and state, so that's why it's so evil. What are these texts? They date from the period between the 2nd century BCE and the early 3rd century BCE. So right after Lehi left Jerusalem. Not right after, but a couple hundred years. They include religious texts, receipts, and accounts by or relating to temple staff, Greek documents documenting communication between the temple staff or the head of the temple and the Roman authorities, as well as texts belonging to family or professional archives. They're written partly in Demotic and partly in Greek.
The first sub-project focuses on Demotic and Greek documentary texts from the temple archive and the relationship to each other. Here, the modest Caroline Arlt wants to find out who wrote the text for whom, in which language, and for what purpose, and what similarities they have. Okay,
sounds good to me.
Yeah. Most of the texts were written by the same scribe.
That's good. That's the who.
Yep. A certain Nufus, son of Maris, scribe of the priests, explains Caroline Alt. By these sources, it will be possible to examine the important scribal office in more detail and find out what tasks the scribe had, what kind of texts he wrote, and in what other ways he was involved in the affairs of the temple. So
now, if you remember Jairus, watching The Chosen, he was like the scribe for the local synagogue.
He was the guy. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so the notary's office. Jairus is from the New Testament, by the way. The notary's office, the so-called graphion, and that's probably where graphite comes. The notary,
maybe,
yeah. And the archives of the site are the focus of the second sub-project, in which Bianca Borelli, a specialist in Greek papyri, will be conducting research. The graphion can be seen as the institution that helped to create a kind of mediation between Greek and Egyptian cultural traditions, explains Borelli. The aim is to shed light on the relationship between the graphion and the temple, as well as its role in the larger legal and administrative institutions of the Ptolemaic and Roman states. 180 documents from the core of this study, in addition to internal graphion documents, texts from related institutions, and other sources known or suspected to have been written by notaries. The results should contribute to a better understanding of the importance of the Greek language in Egypt from the Ptolemaic to the Roman imperial period. So they had notaries back then. Pay $15 to get your thing stamped.
Prove its authenticity.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. So Demotic and Greek accounting scrolls from Soknopaiou Nesos. Hey, SN.
Man.
I butchered it, yeah. That's the only reason I'm here. Form the research focus of the third sub-project. The aim is to include as many examples of different types of reckoning as possible in order to better understand the internal temple administration. Again, quote, one focus will be on the transition between Demotic and Greek accounting to determine whether there is significant evidence of internal Greek accounting from the temple of S and when and how this possible transition took place. This is according to Marcel Moser, who is working on the project as a doctoral researcher.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Stadler himself is deciphering religious texts that have not been read for 2,000 years. These works make it clear how interesting Soknopaiou Nesos is from a general Egyptological perspective, beyond the pure framework of demotic studies, he says.
Soknopaiou Nesos.
Yeah, okay. So I read somewhere it's supposed to be something of Moses, like pool of Moses or plain of Moses. And you can see that Nesos. Moses. Remember when he left Egypt and fled to go to Midian, right? See, I guess he met up with Jethro and married one of his daughters. Maybe this is one of the places where he went. Maybe.
They hung out for a bit, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. All right. After all, the last manuscript sources for certain cult texts can be found there. The cult cost money for which the temple needed income. That's called tithing, right? And in this respect, the temple was a cult business. Come on, man. We have to call it cult. It's just religion back then. Soknopaiou Nesos now offers the unique opportunity to study two important aspects of the same institution, the ritual and economic sides of the temple. Okay, interesting. Using sources in two different languages, this is so fascinating that the project participants are not even deterred by the most evil of all evil Egyptian writings. And again, you want to stress that it's not good versus evil. It's just, you think of something really difficult.
I have a question about what you just said about the donations that were made being considered tithing. So I'm asked to give 10% of my increase.
Me too.
And for a tithe to the Lord.
Right.
But if I decide that I want to donate something else, that's not really considered tithing, is it?
That's like consecration if you want to donate something else.
Okay.
For example, we have
fast offerings.
Well, yeah,
like we have fast offerings,
right? And we're asked to give generous fast offerings, right?
Right, or we donate to a cause or whatever.
So, if you don't know, a fast offering, we fast one time per month, one day. It's usually 3 meals, and what we would have paid money for the meals that we would make, we donate that to the church and it's used specifically. It's used locally, specifically for our in our ward for the needy, right? And so another one would be right now we have 3 missionaries out, don't we? One. We
do.
Yeah. We have 3 and a fourth. It's going to be on her way in a couple months. Yep. So that could be some of the members could contribute to their fund. That's another economic whatever, Right. And then in the drop down form, there's a lot of different things like that you can contribute to the general welfare fund, the general missionary fund.
Yep.
Yeah, there's plenty of things.
Paying for people to receive church magazines.
Besides just tithing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all based on what you can afford and what you can, if you've been blessed.
Yep.
You can consecrate a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Anyways, we just went into our religion. Sorry about that. So I hope you had a great morning. We will see you in a couple hours in the afternoon. Thanks for joining us.